What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into a PLL Semifinals edition of the Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB and Deej coming at you in studio for the first time since we don't remember when, but if you remember when, leave us a comment in the YouTube comment section to jog our memory and remind us, because we genuinely don't remember. It is episode number 390 episodes of this here podcast being recorded right now. We got the PLL semis. That is what this episode is all about. They are going to be going down on Monday. By the time you guys are listening to this, more than likely Sunday night, Monday morning at Subaru Park. That's why I'm repping the playoff-bound Philadelphia Union. Shout out to the boys in blue. They're headed to the playoffs. We're headed to their stadium. Deej, you and I love that stadium so much. It's genuinely one of the best venues in all of North American sports for not only soccer but lacrosse. If you've never been to Subaru Park and you want to, Monday is your chance. It's an absolute doozy of a time. We're going to dive into all things PLL semis. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. We're like less than 300 followers on Twitter away from 2,000. We're less than 300 followers away on Instagram from 1,000. Let's make that happen sooner rather than later. You can follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. You can follow Hoots at Hoots Sports Media. Follow me at KBIZZL311. And follow our young boy, Jackie Knight, Jack_on_sports. Subscribe to the pod. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers since the Jackson Eicher and Rachel DeCecco episodes, so thank you to everyone subscribing there. But keep subscribing. Be a friend, tell a friend, leave a 5-star review. It helps the show continue to grow, helps more people find OTB, plus all of our podcasts here on the network. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. We're 4 subscribers away from 1,100. Let's get there before the PLL semis kick off. Let's make that happen. youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. And this show is brought to you by our good friends over at Rita's in Sewell, New Jersey. Guys, summer's not over. Don't let corporate America pull away your summertime shine, okay? Summer is still here, technically until September 23rd. Utilize it, vibe with it, and there's no better place to do it than with our friends at Rita's in Sewell. Check out all of their delicious flavors. The gummy bear ice is still available now. Plus, my go-to, the mango ice, the orange cream custard is absolutely divine. Check out all of their flavors at ritazice.com, plus all of their nutritional facts. And, of course, visit our friends 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey, and let them know that OTB or Underground Sports Philadelphia sent you. And we thank Rita's in Sewell for being a proud partner of the pod. Deej, what's poppin'? You flew in yesterday. We were both exhausted. Morning flight. I can't remember the last time you've had a morning flight here. And we decided to just rest up so that we were fully ready to go. And that's why the pod didn't come out today, as we record this on Sunday. But you said you had the best flight of your life.
Yeah, I mean, first off, the first thing is literally I do not remember the last time I had a morning flight here.
No.
It's been so long. Maybe the very first time I came here might have been the last time I had a morning flight here.
Yeah.
But it literally was one of the best experiences of my life. Saw a guy I do some announcing with. Working TSA, so that was cool when I walked in the Kalamazoo airport. So we chopped it up for a little bit.
The grind never stops.
Ever. Went right through.
What a dynamic of odds and ends jobs. Not that they're odd jobs, but like the duality.
They don't go together.
I'm a broadcaster, but also work in TSA. That may be the most obscure combination of jobs I've ever heard.
it's nothing like me where it's like, oh yeah, I do radio and I coach. It's like, yeah, that
Right.
goes with announcing. He's just like, yeah, I make sure people ain't trying to blow y'all up on a plane, and then I come talk with you. Like, it was so awesome.
That's so crazy.
But then, I mean, I got put seat 8 for my first flight, so like not too far down the line. Slept all the way through the half-hour flight from Kalamazoo to Detroit. Got to Detroit. This was the only bad part of my trip. I was in gate C47 or something
Set
crazy
hike!
like that.
C-47.
So I had to walk all the way through the C terminal and then through a tunnel up an escalator to go to the A terminal. And then I had to walk all the way to the far side of the A terminal to A7.
That's how far it was. If you're watching on YouTube, Deej's hand just came into my screen.
Yes, that's
how far.
exactly how far it was. And not only that, I had to wait for my bag because it got pink tagged. So I'm in the drawbridge waiting, and I'm like watching my clock.
How'd your bag get fired on his day off? Caught a
Dog,
pink
right?
slip. That's
Man.
crazy.
Like, dog, what is going on? So I finally get it, and I get there with just enough time. Get on my seat. I'm second row from the back. So I'm like, oh, great. Not too many people back here. Had an aisle seat, and I slept the whole hour and 45-minute
Second
right
row
here.
from the back is what Dan Lobus and Paul Dawson call class.
Like, dog, I woke up on my flight here to Philly, and we were landing. like my eyes opened.
That's what a
as
morning
the
flight
tires-
does to a kid.
as the tires hit the ground. So I was like, oh, bet. And it was just like the smoothest ride ever. I had no problems in the air, no problems in any of the airports. Just a really long walk that had me sweating a little bit because I was concerned.
So, shout out to Colin Squires. That is our Deej's airline trip of the week. That's the Colin Squires travel story. Deej, we were talking before we started recording. I said I had to record this because this is like an Adam Schefter, Woj, Shams, Jeff Passan moment for me. I said the moment you realize what the age-old comedic trope and the first joke that you learn is stand-up comedy, airline food, what's up with that, means it brings so much joy and clarity to your 8-year-old soul. And Deej has never experienced this clarity yet, and I feel so happy that I get to break this to you. So Deej, the joke is airline food, what's up with that? When you're flying on a plane, you're up in the air. Airline food, what's up with that?
That's not clarity. That's just stupidity.
That's the meaning of the joke.
That's just stupidity. Can we have a real joke behind this?
That's why
I'm angry.
That's why it's the first joke you learn about in stand-up comedy. It's not good, but that's what it means. You're up in the air. That's what airline food is.
You had me thinking it was going to be something good. I'm hurt. I am emotionally hurt right now. The fact that joke sucks so bad.
But yeah, that's the joke.
Terrible. Horrible. Wish I never learned it. Honestly, would have been better off not knowing the actuality of that.
Why do you think
joke
the
at all.
April Fool in the Fairly Odd Parents gets no applause when he tells that joke?
Because to me, I thought it was just because that's not a joke. But now it makes even more sense because it's not only not a joke, it's a bad not joke. Like, at least try to be funny.
That's why nobody tells it.
I literally could have gone without that information for my entire life.
Well, here we are.
Thanks for ruining my Sunday.
Great podcasting. We're cutting that from the episode. Anyway. PLL semis are here. It was an electric quarterfinals. We haven't put a bow on those yet. We'll do that quickly here before we move to the semis preview as the final four of the PLL in 2025 are here. We'll start with the first game. The 3-seed Philadelphia Waterdogs advance with a 14-12 win over the Maryland Whipsnakes. I mean, I tried to tell you guys on the pod tried to tell you that there was some motivation there. There was some chutzpah for the Waterdogs with the motivation of playing a home game in the semifinals. And for whatever reason, PLL history, the Waterdogs have the Whipsnakes number in the playoffs. They play extremely well against them in the playoffs. They did exactly enough to advance, came out on top. They came out guns blazing in that first quarter, too, 5-3. The Waterdogs only lost the fourth quarter by 1. They tied in the third quarter, but they won the first half 9-6 overall. Stathicus held his own at the stripe, and I think that was a huge underlying story of this. Like, everyone going in was like, oh, Nards is working him. And then as the game progressed, Stath really picked up, went 11 of 27 at the stripe, matched Nards for ground balls with 3. Nards went 15 of 27. He did score a point in this one, but Stath was fantastic and also played some high-quality defense when he got trapped on defense, too. And then, obviously, the story of this game was the Waterdogs attack line. You know, Michael Sowers, 8 points, 4 goals, had a hat trick in the first quarter, 4 points overall in the first quarter, 4 goals, 4 assists. Kieran McCardle, the ageless wonder. The people think that he shouldn't be on a roster. He flipped you the double bird there, dropped his socks on everyone's head with a sock trick, including the game-winning goal and the ice on the cake, too, because he scored the one to make it a 2-point game. CJ Kirst, 5 points, 4 goals, and an assist. The crazy part of this is Michael Sowers took 6 shots in this game, scored 4 goals, shot 66.7%. Kieran McCardle took 14 shots in this game and shot nearly 43%, just a tick under 43%. CJ Kirst took 10 shots, shot 40%. Your 3 goal-scoring contributors all shot a minimum of 40%. Not only was it a dominant performance just statistics-wise, efficiency-wise, those 3 were in their bag and found a way to win. They carried the team, and quite frankly, that's what you want to see from a Waterdogs team that is featuring a future first-ballot Hall of Famer, another future first-ballot Hall of Famer, and the number 1 overall pick, who more than likely will be a future Hall of Famer in this league as well. You want to see them produce all together. Obviously, you want to see more production from the midfield than what you got in this game, but overall, to see that, like, at any given moment, those 3 are like, yeah, we'll put the team on our back and carry this. They did one hell of a job. And, I mean, on top of that, Matt DeLuca was sensational. Should be starting for them, and that's no slight to Dylan Ward, but DeLuca right now, we've said it for weeks, is the better goalie overall for this team moving forward. He had 50% save percentage, made 11 saves. Stathicus, like we mentioned, was sensational. And the Waterdogs not only won this game, but they overcame a game where the opponent scored a 2-pointer on their heads. That was the moment where it was like, oh, Brad Smith, here he goes again. This is what Brad Smith has been doing all year. And the Waterdogs found a way to overcome it, where in games past during this 4-game losing streak in particular that they were on going into this game, the Waterdogs would have to equalize by scoring a 2. They'd have to find a way to nullify the 2-pointers their opponents were scoring, and they came out on top, and it was a damn good game for the Dogs as they continue their success in Minnesota. I believe they are now 5-0 or 6-0 all time in Minneapolis.
I think Staff did just enough to slow Nardella down at times that were needed. And like you mentioned, he played great defense and really gave them an opportunity to slow things down and force them to really work in that short 32-second shot clock, give some turnovers, and then work the 52 on the opposite side. Not taking anything away from the attack. That's just not sustainable.
100%.
I don't think you're going to get that output from the attack every game.
Nor should you want it.
And wanting it and almost accepting it tells your midfield they don't have to get any better. And, like, that's not saying they're bad. There's just been multiple times throughout this season that they have been non-existent. Not even just not contributing, but just non-existent. Like, they're there, but they're not. The offense, like, the fluidity of the dodging from the midfield, the passing, the shooting opportunities they were taking, they just were not there.
They had 1 assist from an offensive midfielder. It was Jack Hanna.
And I understand sometimes that's not always the formula, but if we're looking at the last two, like looking last week and this week, you want a better output from your midfield last week because the dodging opportunities and the shooting opportunities are there. The Whip Snakes D mids are nowhere near as good as Atlas. So,
and even then, I think, Diggs talked about on Stick Talk, and I agree with him, the one weakness, quote unquote, on the New York Atlas roster, if your name is not Danny Logan, is their short sticks.
But it's like, and they're not as bad. And
they're not as inexperienced.
I don't want to say bad. I don't want to say inexperienced. Like, and it has nothing to do with like literal skill. Like nobody in the PLL is not good at lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're looking at skill sets comparatively, I would much rather see I don't think, me personally, I need to see success against a short stick D mid room like Whip Snakes before I can believe you can be successful against Atlas. And it's not because Atlas short stick D mids are so much better. It's more so the defense and the way they play defense around them. They only leave Danny Logan alone.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else gets help. So if you can't beat a defense like Maryland and their short sticks, I don't know if you can do it against Atlas. And this is a bigger game. Like, it's going to come down to midfield output for this game. When you look at the attack lines on both sides, you look at the defense on both sides, they're going to do their parts. It's going to come down to who's scooping up ground balls, who has less turnovers, who's scoring transition goals, whose midfield can contribute on the offensive end. That's where this game is going to be won. And looking at last week, the Waterdogs have an uphill battle in that scenario.
Which I will counterpoint in terms of just the production that you got from Sowers, McCardle, and CJ Kirst. The fact that they were able to score on the most efficient defense in the regular season this year. Statistically, they were the best defense. And when the season came to an end, the fact that those three were able to make that Whip Snakes defense look as silly as they did in a lot of ways was impressive, especially because we've had like this jumbling discussion of, should CJ Kirst be running out of the midfield? Should Jake Taylor be playing this, that, and the third? And it's like, let your number 1 overall pick play his natural position. You're going to get games like this. It was bound to break through for the Waterdogs. Like, CJ Kirst was not going to go winless in his Waterdogs career. This was his first win in a Waterdogs uniform. And the fact that you were able to get contributions this efficiently from those three against Matt Dunn, who's an all-world defenseman, Tim Muller, who's an all-world defenseman that you and I both think doesn't get enough credit for how good he is, to get it against Ajax Zapatello, who a lot of people are saying got snubbed for Defensive Player of the Year, could potentially be, a first or second team All-Pro this year for the way he played. And that's been Michael Sowers' kryptonite since Ajax came into the league. Ajax was drafted, and Stags has been on the record, we drafted Ajax to guard Michael Sowers because we haven't had a defenseman that's been able to keep up with the shiftiness and the quickness of Michael Sowers. The way that those three were able to beat their matchups, beat their assignments consistently too. You don't get production like that from three guys all that often in this league, with how good defenses are, with how good, ball distribution can be. That was a promising sign. Now you move on to the Atlas, which we'll get into that matchup there, obviously, but it's also one of those things too, and we talk about this in any sport. When it's the playoffs, you just find a way to win. You find the formula for that particular game that's going to get you the dub, and in this matchup in Minneapolis in the quarterfinals, the formula was, let's get Michael Sowers going early and then find a way to get Kieran and CJ going, because we've seen Michael Sowers get going early against this Whip Snakes team. We saw it in person in Fairfield. And then as soon as the Whip Snakes changed their philosophy, changed their scheme, no one else could get going. So that to me was also an improvement from the coaching staff of being like, hey, we've seen this song and dance before. They're starting to slow Michael down. Let's get Kieran going. Let's get CJ going. Do you obviously want to see more production from the likes of Jack Hanna, Zach Currier, Connor Kelly, McConvey? Yes. But again, I go back to it's the playoffs. Find a way to win. You're playing against a rival. You throw a lot of things out of the window when you play a rival, especially in the playoffs. And I think the key thing was the quote-unquote special teams for this. Staff doing just enough and Matt DeLuca being as dominant as he was. I think it came down to the special teams at the end of the day and the Waterdogs being able to do just enough at the stripe and get possessions, almost at an equal clip, 11 for 27 for Staff there, going nearly 41%. That's what you need when you're going up against the unicorns in the league. Whether it's Trevor, whether it's Nards, whether it's TD, you want that from guys like Staff. You want that from, the Luke Weirmans. You want that from the guys that aren't necessarily in that unicorn category to be able to go toe for toe with those guys, especially in big games. And that's a huge testament to Staff for stepping up in a big moment for this team, because I think with anybody else there, I don't know if they necessarily get the job done.
Yeah. Obviously I'm a huge fan of DeLuca.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody absolutely knows that. And I think that he played fantastic. There were some really good saves that he made, some clean saves that he got out into transition, and he's just very composed. Even when they started to make a little bit of a run later in the game, we're trying to put it all together, he didn't let it rattle him.
Mm-hmm.
Goal will go in. He's like, hey, I should have had it. Is what it is. I'll just grab the next one. Like his ability to stay composed and, just let his defense and his team know, like, we're good. We got this. We're going to win. That proves to be huge. Like I mentioned earlier, Staff just holding his own and playing defense the way he did gave the Waterdogs a huge chance in this game, especially because of how good the Whipsnakes are in that 32-second shot clock. They love to score in that, knowing what they have with Joe at the stripe. So I thought that he did a fantastic job of getting in and playing defense to stop some of that transition.
Especially because more often than not, they're playing Patra on the wing, and that gets their 32 going.
Yep.
Almost better than any team in the league.
Yeah,
because of how shifty and versatile he can be.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of, Zach Currier and Brian Tevlin. Like, those are two guys that, we lose the face-off, cool. They can play defense.
Right.
Oh, we win the face-off, cool. This
Jake
guy
Stevens
can sing
is the same
one.
way.
Yeah, like, having that player on your wing is huge. And I think Waterdogs are getting a little bit closer to that with Dylan Hess slash Zach Currier, being able to have two of those kind of guys there to switch back and forth.
Along with Ben Wayer being there. And
I think the Redwoods are similarly close with that, with Mac and Tev, and then you have
we see the Archers do it.
JC
obviously.
on the wing, the Archers with Bo and Trey LeClaire and
Piper,
any other short stick
ground punchers.
Like, that's such a huge piece. But once again, a lot of it goes back to the midfield. Like, I'm looking around the league, Denver has gotten
them as well.
Huge outpours from JB10. Dalton Young has had a couple of good games this year. The Redwoods, Andy Mack had a good game. Aiden Donenta has had a good game. We also had Romar have a couple solid games. Like, you go to the Whipsnakes, Brandow and Carroll and Brad Smith. Like, you have multiple guys from the midfield position.
Heacock has played well in moments.
Heacock just had a really good game. But then when you look at the Waterdogs, they got a really good game, or a couple really good games from Jack Hanna, and that is it.
Mm-hmm.
In order to
and
win,
maybe like one or two from Connor Kelly this year, once he's been able to get going.
I think maybe one. I don't even think he had
two. He against the Archers when he had the 4 points in Chicago.
Yep.
And then the last game of the season he had 4 points as well. It's literally been he had 3 4-point games. He had it against the Chaos too when they lost in overtime. But it's Connor Kelly has been productive when he's been able to get his hands free and shoot the 2. And that's what he's good at. We've known that for years. There's been a run of seasons where Connor Kelly is the 2-point king. And that's because when he gets his hands free, he can shoot the hell out of the ball from range. And that's when the Waterdogs midfield, it feels like it's been getting going when Connor Kelly is more involved with the midfield offense. And we saw it early this year, too, when Thomas McConvey was an early leader for the OTB Resurgent Player of the Year. When he got going, it was like, oh, this midfield looks a lot different because they have a guy who can create, who can, open up space for other guys. It feels like those two in particular. Jack Hanna's going to do his thing. Zach Courier's going to do his thing. The Waterdogs feel like they are a complete, well-oiled machine when you obviously have the trio on offense going, when you have Courier and Jack Hanna doing their thing, but also when you have McConvey and Connor Kelly really contributing, getting their hands free, finding open space, and whether that's assisting goals or scoring, those two feel like the key pieces of the puzzle to the Waterdogs' success from a midfield offensive perspective.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like you said, I think they played the name of the playoff game as far as surviving any way you possibly can. But I don't think this will sustain through this year or in the year's future. I don't think it's something to harp on at the moment. A nice talking point, something to get the minds going, but realistically, the only focus is making stuff happen when you can. And at the end of the day, they got one, maybe two more games, and they just have to figure out how to win them, and then you handle those problems in the offseason.
100%. And from a Whipsnake's perspective, I mean, Aiden Carroll was phenomenal again. 4 goals. He went blow for blow with CJ Kirst. 4 goals, 1 assist, 9 shots, shot 44.4%. Rob Pinnell was very good in this game. 2 goals, 2 assists, shot 50%. Brad Smith hit that clutch 2-pointer that for a time felt like the game swung in the Whipsnakes' direction, but it also was like, wow, we hit this and we finally got level. We're still not out of the dark, and they were never out of the dark at the end of the game. By the time the game ended, it still wasn't enough. The thing for me, as the Whipsnake season kind of came to a close down the stretch, I remember, I forget what week it was. It might have been in Boston. TJ Malone was reported as questionable with a back injury. Still ended up playing against the Cannons. I wonder when he sustained the initial back injury, because down the stretch, outside of that game against the Waterdogs, and he still didn't really shoot all that well, shot 14.3% in Fairfield. From the Whipsnakes' homecoming back half against the Chaos, that 20-6 bludgeoning, 1 point, 1 point, 5 points against the Waterdogs, 4 of them being assists, 1 point, 3 points, 2 points. Early go, TJ Malone was getting MVP talks. It was getting, Rookie of the Year's just doing his thing. And this is no slight at TJ. He still finished, 33 points on the year, 17 1-point goals, 1 2-pointer. I do wonder when that back injury, really happened, and if Boston was just, the first time he really felt it. Because backs can be a pain in the ass. Back injuries, back soreness can really be a pain in the ass, especially in a sport like lacrosse where you're using a lot of your back muscles. I do wonder, because after that first game of their homecoming, he never really looked like TJ Malone the rest of the way. He looked like not an ancillary piece, but he just looked like a supporting role rather than the face of a team, rather than the guy that I think we all know TJ Malone can and will continue to be. I just wonder how much that back injury has affected him, because down the stretch, he didn't look all that great. And in this game, 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist, shot 16.7%. I just wonder how much it's been a factor for him down the stretch. And hopefully he, gets healthy and is okay moving forward. But it is strange, the drop off there that we saw from TJ.
I don't think it started too much earlier than when they said it did. It might have started a little bit before that, but I don't think it's something that they intentionally didn't put, make known. What I really think happened with him in his season is Matt Brandow and Aiden Carroll really started to cook, and they were – Jim has always been this way. They feed the hot hand.
Mm-hmm.
And those two were hot a majority of the season. If you look kind of at their point output, it happened right as TJ started to slow down.
Yeah.
Not that TJ has to be ball dominant, because we saw him at Penn State not being ball dominant and doing just fine.
Saw him last year not have to be ball dominant on a worse offensive Whipsnakes team.
But we can admit that once he was ball dominant on that team, he and that offense got better.
Mm-hmm.
He started this year ball dominant. He was playing well. That offense was playing pretty well. And then natural shifts are okay.
Right.
Not saying that anything they did was wrong. Not saying it was not the right decision to go with the hot hands. It just affected TJ Malone differently, because I think his game has started to adapt to being a quarterback and a ball carrier. Like, he's like, okay, I initiate. It starts with me. If I got something, I go. If not, I'll move on and set up someone else. So I think he's battling how to manage when to be the quarterback and when not to. When do I need to be ball dominant? When do I need to just play off everyone else? That's a hard thing to do no matter what level you're playing at, is to adjust back and forth sometimes in the middle of a game, sometimes in between games, sometimes stretches of games. You know, there might be 3 games where you're the quarterback, and the next 2 they want you to play off ball,
right?
Because that's just how it's going. That's hard to adjust to. I think that's more of what happened here. But then again, we are not 100% sure when that back started to affect him and how long.
Up until it got announced that, hey, TJ Malone's questionable with a back injury,
Yeah.
which was in Boston, but you don't know when that fully came into effect.
Exactly.
Down the stretch, but hopefully TJ is okay, can rest up, this offseason, be back to the TJ Malone we saw for the first half of this year, all of his rookie season, and continue to be down. Because I think a lot of people forget, too, like TJ was a rookie last year, but also TJ Malone's 26 years old.
Yeah.
Not that that's old by any means, but, like, he's in his, like, athletic prime right now. Like, he has a short window of that athletic prime. He's got to be able to take advantage of this time frame, from 25 to 30 and being the dominant player that he is.
By the way, that shit's old. I'm going to say it. If ain't nobody else going to say it.
If that's old, I'm dead, okay?
You are ancient. We know this. This is nothing new. But yeah, you're right. He has to – I think he's going to be just okay. I think he's going to heal fine. He's going to have some time off because he doesn't play box as far as I know. So he's going to have some time to stretch and rehabilitate, get into the physical therapy and all those things, so that when things come around next season, he's ready to go. And I think he is going to start the year again as that quarterback-like player, very ball dominant. And we'll just see how the team and he adjust to that throughout the year, or if they try to continue to feed him the ball. And like, my thing is, it doesn't have to be like, he doesn't have to be ball dominant to still feel ball dominant, right? It can be a game where Carroll and Brandow are cooking and you want them to touch the ball most plays. Cool. Set aside 5, 10, 15 plays in the game where you're starting with TJ. He's initiating. He gets the ball. He gets the shot. That's going to give him that feel that he's still ball dominant. And then he's still going to be able to move around and play off of everyone else as the game's going on. But it kind of just – it's one of those things that we talked about with a couple other teams. Like, we talked about it with Chaos as far as, getting touches over to Owen Hiltz and Shane Knobloch. Like, he's just one of those players where you have to get him specific touches for him in order to keep his game going. It's obviously an adjustable thing. I just think that they had some up and downs with it this year, and every team has really had those up and downs throughout their time as a team. It just depends on who's around and how the team's playing at the moment.
No, obviously we'll do a big off-season, for each team and kind of breaking down their needs and stuff when it gets here, but Rob Pennell signed through 2026, and I think as the season progressed, especially when they moved Aiden Carroll to attack, Rob got better. And obviously a lot got better when they stopped forcing the ball to Rob to break the assist record and everything. Like, it was very evident that was happening. Where do you see things and Rob was obviously typical Rob Pennell at the end of a season. He was like, I haven't even started thinking about next year. I think he will be one of those guys that just finishes out his contract. We'll play next year with the Whips, but what do you want to see role-wise from Rob, knowing that Aiden emerged this year, especially when he got moved to attack? We want to see TJ take another step forward as kind of the face of this team. You want to get guys like Levi Anderson more involved. What is the role for Rob?
It's so weird.
It's so much different than what it was with the Woods too. Towards the end there, because it was like the Redwoods were forcing that offense through Rob. As the season progressed, they weren't forcing the offense through Rob at all. But Rob was it was like a niche role of just being a simple feeder. They weren't asking Rob to go and score all that much. It was like, you get the ball, feed it to Aiden, feed it to TJ, feed it to whomever. Where does that fit in this system? Because, like we said, he got better as the season went on, which for someone at his age is pretty impressive. But what do you view Rob's role in 2026?
I think it stays the same, with a slight twist. I think the bigger thing is they're going to be asking him for more of the IQ things, to be more of that veteran that's like just watching what's unfolding. He plays at X, so he sees everything in front of him, watching what's unfolding in front of him, stepping up when they need him to, but more so just pointing out like, yo, that was a good play, but try this. What about this? This is open. This is here. And just being basically another coach. Because, I mean, maybe he signed another contract.
Well, he's still signed through next season.
At the end of next season. Maybe he does. But it's only going to be a year or two, and he's probably done. Like we all know that we are reaching the near end of Rob Pennell's career.
He's 35 right now, so I don't know when his birthday is exactly, but he'll either be 35 or 36 next year.
And it's just that whole thing is the matter of how long does he want to play?
Just got married, obviously.
But we all know that his role now is not to be an efficient Dodger and score all the time or create for everybody. Just help the offense flow. Whatever that is for the moment, do that. And then at the same time, help these guys learn. Give them the little nuggets that you have from so many years of high-level college and professional lacrosse so this team can continue to grow.
So the Whipsnakes are eliminated. The Waterdogs move on to Philadelphia. Bill Tierney's first playoff win as head coach of the Waterdogs. Waterdogs are the lowest seed to advance to the semifinals as a 3 seed in the East. And the Whipsnakes now get ready for the draft once again. And not that it's all that crazy, but I think are they the 4th pick or 3rd? They're 3rd pick because of record, I think.
Whips?
Yeah.
Yes, they should be.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be...
Because Chaos was ahead of them.
Yeah, so overall, it'll be Archers, Cannons, Whipsnakes, Chaos, because the Waterdogs advance, so they'll have a higher pick. Going to be fun. I'm excited to see, what happens there and then the draft nonsense now that we know the top 4 picks and what can happen there. But the Waterdogs advance. They get a home game in the semifinals, which is going to be very exciting. Looking forward to that. We'll keep on keeping on, but before we do, I want to talk to you guys about our friends over at Buff. Guys, there's no better way to keep yourself protected all year long from the elements than with our friends at Buff. Whether you're going on hikes, going to the beach, being an outdoorsman like you're on Survivor, Buff has you covered. Quite literally. Check out all of their collections from the Survivor collection, the National Parks collection. Make sure you're protected from the sun, the wind, and of course that inevitable snow that will be here in just a short amount of months. Use our link in the description, shop with our friends at Buff, and check out that Survivor collection. Survivor Season 5. DJ, I don't know if you saw, they're opening very similar to the F1 Arcade. They're opening a Survivor Experience restaurant in Boston, and I hope that goes city to city the way the F1 Arcade has, because I would be there every single day wearing my Buff, ready to rock and roll. So use our link in the description, shop with our friends at Buff, and we thank them for being a proud partner of OTB. Deej, California Redwoods 14, Carolina Chaos 12. Very strange. I don't know if this has ever happened. Both quarterfinals games ended with the same score. 14 was the magic number in Minnesota. The Redwoods advance. Anthony Kelly gets his first playoff win. And this was an uphill battle for a lot of the game for the Redwoods. Chaos started up with a 2-1 lead after the first quarter. They put up a 6-piece in the second. Redwoods answered with a 6-piece of their own, and then down the stretch, finished strong with 3 goals in the fourth quarter. Andrew McAdory was sensational, 4 goals in this one. Chris Cav with a hat trick. Charlie Bertrand, his most important game of the season, potentially, with 2 goals. Ryder Garnsey, 2 assists in this one. Romar with a huge 2-pointer that inevitably became the game winner by virtue of what the final score was. TD scores in this one. Dylan Malloy didn't have to do all that much like he has the past couple of weeks. Scored just 1 goal. Aiden Denenza scored in this game. And Chris Fake, even injured, was fantastic on defense. 4 ground balls, 1 caused turnover. He was awesome, playing less than 100%. And TD did TD things, 60% at the stripe. Overall, or I'm sorry, that's Chase's save percentage there. TD was 50% at the stripe. Chase had a career high 18 saves in this game.
You know, I've apologized before, but at some point I'm going to have to go on a real public apology train to Chase Erlin.
Yeah.
What a season he's had. What a game he had last week. That save on Owen Hiltz on the crease is probably the true game winner. He doesn't make that save, I think they run away with the game. I think the momentum at that moment carries them through to a win. Not only did he make that save, crazy save, they scored on the opposite end.
Mm-hmm.
That is the kind of momentum that brings you back into a game, especially one that you were down by 5 points at one point. Being down 5-10 is never good.
Mm-mm.
You never want to see that. But to come back from that, it shows that you got the grit. It shows that you can be in a tough scenario, look each other in the faces and go, we're not done.
Mm-hmm.
We can come back. We are good enough. Let's fix X, Y, and Z and get better. And they did that. And in just a matter of 10 minutes over halftime,
Right.
they put it all together and we're like, okay, we know we're not going to get it all back at once. We know that we can't necessarily stop them the entire second half, but we do know that we can come out and be on an onslaught. We do know that we have TD at the faceoff stripe. We do know we have his brother Chase in between the pipes. And we do know that we are a gritty team. This was a gritty win. No matter who would have won this game, it would have been a gritty win. When you look at the way penalties were called, how turnovers went, picking up loose balls at certain times, the saves that were made on both ends. This was a game that literally was just who actually wants it more.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to go out and make that play at a certain moment to want it more. And the Redwoods were able to do that. Shout out to Chaos for one, being able to make it that kind of game. Running away with it in the second quarter into the third, probably felt like they were going to run away with it. Like, okay,
They
we
had
got
all
this.
the momentum going.
And I can't imagine being up 5 with Blaze Reardon in net and thinking, yeah, we don't win. And no point in my life would I ever think a team with Blaze Reardon in net winning by 5 loses. But that's exactly what happened because one team decided to come out and play harder than the other. I think Chaos did a great job of capitalizing on almost every possible mistake they could.
Mm-hmm.
One that really comes to mind is the Redwoods pick up an awful penalty, like a holding or something like that, and they're on the man down. Atlas on the power, or Chaos on the power play, throw a skip pass, and Ryland Reese is there, gets his stick on it. I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna pick it off instantly out of his stick.
Mm-hmm.
Who ends up? Whose magical stick does it end up in? None other than 77. Owen Hiltz, who stings one. Those kind of plays were the plays that kept Chaos in this game and made Chaos believe they had everything they needed to win this game. Those kind of bounces happened for Chaos all game until the end. They got a turnover from Redwoods at the end of the game, and then ensued to turnover right after. I do want to point out that was a horrible decision by Andrew McAdory.
Mm-hmm.
Just run it out, dog. I get it. Regular season, go for it.
Yeah.
You need the score differential, all that. It's playoffs, dog. Just run it out. It doesn't matter. Run it out. move on. Everything's cool. You don't have to panic and worry about anything happening on the other end. But I also understand in his head why he did it. The net's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I just would have liked to see him take the shot this much earlier,
Yeah.
maybe. And then nothing's a problem there. But, you know, kudos to Chaos for scoring right before that, not too long ago, to make it a little bit of a tighter game and make them have to think about those kind of decisions.
And Chaos played such a clean game,
So
too.
clean.
Only
Very few
12
penalties.
turnovers as a team.
Yeah, very few penalties, very few turnovers. It's just when they did make turnovers, they were not at the best time.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the time they were giving up something good on the other end. It wasn't always a goal. Sometimes it was just a really good shot that rang off the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Or you gave them a penalty and then they got to go on the power play. Like, those are rewarding things that makes a team want to do more. Makes them want to keep going because they're like, okay, we got them on their heels. They're making mistakes. We're in this position. Let's ride this momentum until we have a reason not to. But this was one of the best games of the year in terms of excitement.
The shots on goal percent, I didn't even look at this until now. Chaos shots on goal percentage was nearly 20% higher than the Redwoods. Chaos shot on goal percentage was 72.1%. Wow. California was 53.5%, which isn't bad.
No.
It's over 50%, but 72.1% were on goal. Chase makes 18 saves. Like you said, there was a couple pipe ringers. Like, that's an insane clip to just show, like, how dialed in as shooters that Chaos team was. That's great. And, like, their shooting percentage, like, the discrepancy, 27.9% to the Redwoods, 30.2%.
And that also, you know, points out the significance of Romar's two-pointer,
Mhm.
which was tipped by a defenseman nonetheless. Either way, a 2 is a 2. It goes in. That makes that play so much bigger. And then also you look back at, you know, Dylan Malloy's little shovel shot that he gets off on the Jack Rowlett over the head check that he avoids.
Mm-hmm.
You look back at Chris Cavanaugh getting under the screen twice and sticking one top side on Blaze. Like,
Mhm.
those 3 goals right there show just how important it is to make your chances stick.
Mm-hmm.
Those were 3 wide open chances that they couldn't afford to miss because they were only hitting the net 50% of the time.
Right.
This is a prime example of making your opportunities count and then getting some help on the backside. The offense, when they got really good open shots, they were hitting the cage and they were hitting the back of the cage. And on the other end, when the other team got those same opportunities, Chase was coming up with big saves. This was almost like the opposite. Like, you look at the score, the way this game played out and everything, you look in previous years, the Redwoods would be the team with 12 turnovers
Mm-hmm.
and losing this game by 2.
Have
and
a
playing
5-goal lead.
almost playing a perfect game, but then losing.
I also want to say, like, kudos to Bachlet and Collins. Like, as much as Anthony Kelly has been phenomenal, he's a Coach of the Year finalist this year. Those two, I think, the Redwoods don't win this game without the experience and prowess of the collective of the coaching staff. And that's not to say anything wrong about the Chaos coaching staff, because it's the same thing. They wouldn't be in that game without those 3. Mm-hmm. But I think down the stretch, when you're playing in a game like that where Chaos is so dialed in offensively, having Chris Collins' knowledge there as your defensive coordinator, as your goalie coach, to really coach up Chase, and like the style of offense that Bachlet has implemented this year for the Redwoods has been nothing short of a miracle. This team has looked so different offensively than they have in the past 3 years. It's wild to watch, and it's only going to get more exciting as we see the stakes heighten here for them. And I'm excited. Like, I told everyone, did I not, when we had our season preview episode, don't sleep on Chaos. I said this team, they may not be the best team, but they're going to be a lot of fun to watch because it's like watching a brand new roster forming chemistry for the first time. It was very different than the Hospital Chaos teams that we saw when the Bandits guys were coming back from the NLL Finals. This was a young group coming together, building chemistry as the season went, and it was very fun to watch. They're going to be in Champ Series, which is super exciting. I told everyone, Don't sleep on this team. Roy Colsey made a huge first impression on me. He is going to be such a fantastic coach in this league. That staff is going to be amazing. The Carolina Chaos are just getting started for this era of Chaos lacrosse. And if you're a Chaos fan, you should be thrilled with how this season went. With the lowest of low expectations coming in, with a brand new regime, with a brand new GM, separate from your head coaching role, with a lot of unknowns on the offensive side of the ball, with unknowns at the face-off stripe, a lot of new faces in general. This season was a wild success for Carolina, and if you're a Carolina Chaos fan, the stock, like if you're selling Chaos stock, I would love to buy it all. Let me buy all of the Chaos stock because this team is not going anywhere anytime soon. They're only going to continue to get better. Owen Hiltz is going to get more Avengers around him. Like, this team is so fun to watch, and I think a lot of the teams in the Western Conference should be very afraid of what is to come over the next 2-3 seasons for the Carolina Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thoroughly happy and really excited to be wrong. To have been wrong. You know, at the beginning of the season, I said that they would probably only win 2 games. It would be a tough year from them. And, you know, there are so many ups and downs and all these questions and things like that. To every week have to come on this pod and say I was wrong was a treat. To come on this, you know, every week on this pod and be like, well, the Chaos are doing this and the Chaos are doing that, and this guy looks really good, and oh, this team is really starting to put it together. We look up in 2 weeks, they might be clinching a playoff spot. Like, to have to do that week in and week out made me remember why sports are so great.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the unthinkable happens. Sometimes things don't go as chalk.
Right.
You know, when we look at how things a lot of us thought this year was going to play out, we would have had Chaos and Whipsnakes out of the playoffs. We would have Archers and Atlas in a championship game. We're getting almost none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas might make the championship game. Archers weren't in it. Whips and Chaos were. Insanity. But that's the whole point of lacrosse and sports is
Parody,
you can
baby.
have all of these ideals. You can have all of these storylines. You can have all of this stuff. But it comes down to the games getting played on the court / field, octagon, whatever is happening, where it's happening. That is what actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
And this PLL season proved that. And like you said, with the parity, the best record in the league was 7-3. The worst record in the league was 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's separated by 3 games, the whole league. Granted, it's 8 teams big, but still. We've seen undefeated seasons. We've seen 9-1 seasons. We've seen 8-2 seasons. So seeing a 7-3, 4-6 differential, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it just means that the parity will continue. This league will continue being that way, especially with all the talent that's coming in. And the Chaos were a great example of don't count anybody out before you see them. Don't think that things are going to be chalk because they're most likely not. And you can't ever count out a Blaze Reardon in net / Jack Rowlett, Jared Newman on defense. Like, they're going to show up and do their thing.
Levi Virch was phenomenal this year.
Absolutely great. And I guess also we can't forget this team found a way to make everybody's strong suits shine.
Mm-hmm.
We had Perk 30 from the Perkin lot this year. When's the last time we said that?
He looked great.
Perk scoring again was fantastic. And not even just scoring, because he scored last year. And he scored a couple times with the Redwoods when he was playing. Scoring at the clip that he scored this year.
And the
And
style
the
that he
ways
was
he
scoring.
was scoring, the 2-pointers he had. That is the Sergio Perkovic we're used to seeing. Owen Hiltz being able to dominate on the wing offensively and just rip whenever he feels like it. Jackson Eicher being able to be a quarterback just like he was in college. Shout out to the lieutenant. Like, this team found a way. Shane Knobloch.
I was going to
Whether
say,
he
Knobloch
was
coming
hurt-
back in
hurt or coming back from injury.
changed so much for this team.
You can look at last year, look at this year. They love sending him on that sweep to the right side to let it go. If he catches it on the left, you better know he's sweeping to the right, and you better send a double team or he's stinging one. And this offense found a way to highlight
Ross Scott, y'all
everybody.
better remember the name.
What,
Josh Zawada, anytime he was in the lineup, like, made it so, like, they had a true quarterback there when they needed it and just, like, a game settler.
And that's something people didn't talk about enough was having Jay-Z down low and Jackson Iker up top. The two quarterback system that we've seen work so many times with the Archers. We see it sometimes with Atlas. I think Brian Costabile does a great job of that. Miles Jones used to do a great job of that. We've seen this happen a handful of times around the league. I think Brad Smith is actually a great quarterback. And then you had Rambo back in the day. Those two together were great as a two quarterback system. This calf offense was great when they had the two quarterback system going from top and bottom with Iker and Jay-Z. Bring that back and continue to shine in all the places you have been. This chaos team is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Nope. They're going to be very fun, and I'm excited for Champ Series with them as well. That's going to be wildly exciting. But nonetheless, Deej, we move to the PLL Semifinals, and before we do, we want to talk about our awesome PLL app code. Guys, keep up to date with everything going on in the PLL with the PLL app. It is your one-stop shop for everything regarding the PLL, whether it's articles from the beat writers, practice videos, press conferences, PLL fantasy, and more. It's a gamified app, so you earn experience points by doing so much in the app. It's truly something that you should be opening up every day because there's something new there every day. Download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, and when you go to the redeem code section, use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD. You get 500 XP on your account. Again, download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, and type in OTBPOD in the redeem code section to get 500 XP on your PLL account and keep up to date with everything going on throughout the PLL playoffs and beyond in the PLL app. The semifinals are here. We've got 2 PLL games plus the Stars and Stripes matchup going on in Philadelphia this year, which is very exciting. We'll talk about that as well. We start at 12 p.m. The games got flipped from what they initially were announced as. So at 12 p.m., it's the home dogs, the Philadelphia Waterdogs, air quote, playing host to the New York Atlas, question mark, at 12 p.m. on ESPN+, but be in the stadium, be at Subaru Park. It's truly like a one-of-a-kind experience. As the age-old trope in sports goes, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. The Atlas have beat the Waterdogs twice this year in very convincing fashion in Baltimore, in the highest-scoring game in PLL history in Boston. These teams have a lot in common, especially offensively. They've got 3 dogs, on their attack lines. They have very talented and skilled midfields in very different ways. And obviously, a lot of this is going to come down to the special teams. What can Stath do with the stripe against Trevor? We've seen him have success, and then we've seen him kind of fall off a little bit, especially in that last game in Boston. And then it's going to come down to who's in net for the Waterdogs. We both think it should be Matt DeLuca, obviously. And then going up against Liam Entenmann, who had a phenomenal year this year. But when you go and look at a lot of the splits for Liam Entenmann this year, he's not invincible. He's a beatable goalie. We saw the Waterdogs do that in that highest scoring game where they found their spots and were able to pick their poison and make Liam have his worst game of the year statistically. I'm excited for this game. I think this game could be an all-time PLL game, and for a lot of reasons. You have high-powered offenses. You have, your battle-tested coaches, and there's just so much drama and storyline. Philadelphia, New York. It's an exciting matchup for so many reasons, and the stadium is going to be rocking nonstop for the 3 seed over the 1 seed.
While I think you brought up a ton of great points, I think we know what we're getting with all of those things you brought up. I think the real question mark for really both of these teams is what 3 midfielders are going to show up. Who's going to have a better day? Matt Traynor, Hugh Callagher, and Brian Costabile? Or is it going to be Zach Currier, Jack Hanna, and Thomas McConvey?
That would probably be the ideal.
Connor Kelly, like, you know what I mean? Like, just who's going to get 2 to 3 midfielders to be productive in this game? I think both attacks are going to have 8+ points, 6+ points. Like, they're going to do their job. I think both defenses and goalies are going to make key plays to give their other team an opportunity. We've seen Stath hold his own all year. I don't think that changes. I really think, the middle of the field is the middle of the field. Both of these teams have great rope units. It's going to come down to whose offensive midfield can produce a few more points than the other. Both of these teams have struggled to get offensive midfield output all season.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the difference maker in this game. And it may only be 1 goal. It may be a situation like last week where one team does only get an assist out of their midfield, but that's enough.
2 of the last 3 times these teams have played, dating back to 2024, it's been 1-point decisions. The last game of the season in 2024, August 17th, Waterdogs won 13-12. June 21st of this year, obviously Atlas went on parade and won 17-9. But in that game, the takeaway for me was the face-off stripe was 50-50. It was even. It was just the Waterdogs had no offense whatsoever in that game. And I do think if you get more of a production there from Stath at the stripe in the game that was the highest scoring game in PLL history on August 9th of this year, the Waterdogs potentially win that game. And it may not be 20-19. Mm-hmm. It may be a 17-15 game or something like that, because the face-off discrepancy in that game, Trevor went 71% to Stath's 26%. So you need Stath to improve and be more like he was in week 4 versus what the face-off stripe has been in the 2 games that sandwiched that, where end of the year in August of 24, Waterdogs faced off at 24%. They faced off at 26% in Boston. Find a happy medium. Go 40% like you did against Nards. And that's a recipe for success in a lot of ways when you're going up against Trevor, rather than a 71-26 discrepancy, a 76-24% discrepancy. That's going to be huge for the Dogs, is winning some faceoffs there and getting possessions for the offense and finding a way to get that midfield going, especially with Courier, Dylan Hess, and letting those guys move in transit. Ben Weyer ripping 2s. And I think that's also the biggest thing too, is when these 2 teams have played this year, the 2-pointer has killed the Waterdogs. Whether it's Brian Costabile, who has been, I think, the Achilles heel for this Waterdogs team over the past couple of years, you have to find a way to defend that 2-point arc and not have Matt DeLuca stand on his head all game long.
Ironically, we're going to disagree here. I don't even think you need to go 40%. 30, 35. Maybe you can even keep the 26 you have. And I only say that because face-offs in the PLL are so much different than every other style of lacrosse. Because you can get away with only winning 26% of those face-offs and win the game, depending on how good your 32-second shot clock defense is. And I would argue that the Waterdogs would have a little more success stopping the 32-second offense of the Waterdog or of the Atlas, and then using the 52 on the other side to be successful. If you can stop the 32 consistently and then score in the ensuing 52 even half the time, you're doing well. And you have a good chance of winning that game. And if they're stopping at an even higher clip than 50%, or if they're scoring on an even higher clip than 50% after making those stops, their chances of winning go up even more. I especially with the way that the midfield has looked for the Waterdogs, I don't know that shorter time is good for them. I don't know if you want to win a ton of faceoffs in this game and have to score in that 32. I think maybe they want to have to score in 52 a little bit more. It allows them to truly get the 3 midfielders they want on the field. It allows them to set something up and go with the player they want to go with to get the shot they want. I think a lot of times teams take the first good shot. Not the best shot, but the first good shot in that 32, because are you even going to get a best shot? So they take the one that becomes available. I see the Waterdogs do that a lot. They turn it over, and then they give up goals on the other end. Or they're not scoring in those 32 or the 52, and then they're trying to find ways to create offense wherever they can get it. That could be dangerous this weekend, especially if the Atlas are scoring at a high clip, regardless of in the 32 or the 52. If the Waterdogs are struggling offensively, they're going to have a tough time. I just think the way to combat that is to give their offense as much time with the 6 guys they want on the field with time to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be such a good – like, I'm so excited for this game because I think it's going to be just high energy. The hostility in the stadium from the stands is going to be at an all-time high. And I think part of that, too, is not only is Michael Sowers the Philly guy, this team has embraced Philadelphia so much since they got named the Waterdogs, being Philadelphia's team. And, like, even before then, like 2022, we saw it at the championship game. 2021, we saw it at the semifinals. Like, Philadelphia loves this team, and a lot of that has to do with Michael Sowers. But overall, Philly rides for this team. If you're a lacrosse fan, like, you know, like, the fans are behind it 100%, and knowing that they are the underdog, and if you know Philadelphia sports, you know we love an underdog, they are going to make this such a hostile environment that it's going to be scenes for us up in the press box, and I can't wait to watch it all unfold because it's going to be a true home field advantage, not like you typically see, even though we saw a lot of it at Villanova this year. When Subaru Park is on that schedule for the Waterdogs, that place gets bumping and rolling like no other.
I think it really helps that it's a playoff game, too. I think that's going to make, a few more people want to come out. But, I don't know how much that factors, because we've seen Atlas and many other teams do away with a home field advantage. Just look at it and scoff at it. I mean, Brendan O'Neill, for example, in Utah, literally looked at the homies and said, y'all call that a home field advantage? Like,
yes.
It's playoffs.
But we also saw the flip side of that last year with Utah, and they really made it a home field advantage.
I mean, they made it a home field advantage this year, too. Just the skill level of the guys in the PLL, sometimes it does not matter.
We've also seen Atlas crumble being the home team like last year in one of, if not the greatest game ever played in the PLL with that unbelievable overtime game, and the Whipsnakes end up winning on Long Island.
But, okay, then we argue, is that really home for the Atlas? I would argue that more upstate New York is the home for Atlas. I don't think we've seen them lose I think this year is the first time they've lost in Albany.
Yeah, they lost in Albany this year.
And maybe, in the past where they weren't, a home team there. But
they lost the second game.
I think so.
And then they almost lost the first game to Chaos.
They did. Even more of the point, just the home field isn't quite what it is yet. What we want it to be in the PLL just yet. But this is one of the closest experiences you get.
And we've seen it when it involves Philly guys, Rambo, Sowers, Grant Ament. Like, those 3 in particular, when Subaru Park is on the list, whether it's championship, semifinal, obviously a lot has to do with, those guys' connections to the city of Philadelphia and surrounding areas. But we've been in the press box before, and that stadium's been shaking no matter who's playing. We saw it obviously on full display when it was the Waterdogs and Archers in 2023, and you have Grant versus Michael Sowers, and no matter who was touching the ball, that place was bumping And it's just so fun to experience. Like, again, I can't stress enough. If you are in the area, buy tickets to the game because the experience is second to none.
Yeah, it's a great experience, and you know, Subaru Park does a great job of hosting, and the atmosphere is great. It's a normal PLO weekend just with added hype because it's the playoffs, and then it's obviously going to help a ton that the Waterdogs are in it, and then you know, outside of that, there's not a ton of Philly guys in this year, so that'll be interesting to see. Maybe we do get a little bit more of that feeling this year with the Waterdogs game, because there aren't a ton of other Philly guys coming in this weekend. You know, only time will tell. But the fact that they're playing at home, essentially.
First time CJ Kirst gets to play at home.
I think that'll be cool. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that.
I'm excited for the pop during player introductions for that.
But I think this is the first time we'll truly be able to see what a home field advantage can do for a team. Because I think even during the year, a lot of these home fields are home fields for players on other teams.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they're
getting a welcome introduction and everything like that.
We haven't seen the Waterdogs play here since the 2023 championship.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot there in the fact that this is the first time it's going to feel like a team is playing a home game by themselves.
And on top of that, the 2023 championship, they weren't the Philadelphia Waterdogs.
Yeah.
They were Waterdogs Lacrosse Club. So they weren't even affiliated, quote unquote, with Philly yet. So this is the first time they're playing at Subaru Park as the Philadelphia Waterdogs, which, like, I know it sounds crazy for people listening, but, like, genuinely, you can't discredit that with Philly sports fans. And if you get even an iota of, like, casual fans just going out because it's a holiday, it's Philly, like, it's something to do, they're going to be going fucking batshit crazy in the stands, because this is also, like, the lead into Eagles football, which happens on Thursday. This is prime, you know, September baseball's right around the corner, so everyone's riled up for Red October to be ready to rock and roll. This is like a precursor to what the crazy 4-for-4 Philadelphia sports can be. The Union just clinched a playoff spot, and you're playing at their stadium now. Like, this is the bill, and I've talked about it a ton where, you know, 2022 was the year of dread for Philadelphia sports. The Eagles end up losing the Super Bowl from the 2022 season. On the tail end of that, the Waterdogs, even though they weren't Philly's team yet, if they had won, people would consider that a Philadelphia championship, just like they do with 2022. They lose by 1 to the Archers. The Phillies lose in the World Series. The Union lose the MLS Cup. Now, fast forward to 2025, the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2025. The Phillies are in first place in the National League East. They're the number 2 team in the National League and number 2 in all of baseball right now going into Sunday Night Baseball. The Union just clinched a playoff spot, like I mentioned. They're the number 1 team in MLS, and the Waterdogs are in the semifinals again. This is like this is the revenge season for Philadelphia sports, it feels like. And if the narrative continues, I'm excited to see what the Waterdogs can do. You're playing against a rival. You haven't beat them since 2024, which was your last game of the season going into a long off season. And it's going to, you know, they're going to have to contain. They've got 1 game of film head-to-head of playing against CJ Kirst. And I think that's a huge thing to just take into account on both sides, where the Atlas now have experience playing against him, but also it's 1 game of experience. How do they switch things up? What do we have to prepare for? They're coming off a game where all 3 guys had a phenomenal game. What do we have to do to contain that? This game is going to be fireworks, and I'm glad it's the first game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested to really more so what we're going to get from Atlas. You know, Waterdogs played last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess. You know, they're a little more fresh. They know how things looked for them last weekend. They know the adjustments they want to make. Whipsnakes or Atlas haven't played in
a long time, since Boston.
Almost a month.
Not like 3 weeks maybe, because Boston was what, August 9th. So then the league had a bye. Then they
3 weeks.
had quarterfinals bye, and now this will be 3 weeks.
Yeah, almost a month, which is gonna be huge. Do they have the energy to come out and play like they have been all year? Are they gonna be, still going on all cylinders? Are they gonna have a little bit of trouble getting resynced in the first quarter? How do they come out is the question. If they come out strong, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody better put their seatbelt on because we're going F1 driving. Like this game is going to be tipsy-turvy, tight turns, big hits, crazy goals. The energy is going to be extremely high. They come out slow, might see a Waterdogs blowout. They come out, okay. We're probably just going to get a game that feels itself out, and then we get to see what it's like for the rest of the game. But I think the start of the game will tell a huge story for this based off the rest that the Atlas are coming off of versus the excitement, the energy, the want to get right that the Philadelphia Waterdogs have coming from their last game. It's just, this game is going to be fun regardless of how it plays out. Obviously, depending on what side you're on, it may feel a certain way. The one thing I'm hoping for is this to be a close, good game. I do not want to see the Atlas come out slow and get run out of here because they've been on rest. I want to see a game that's fun, competitive, and has us all on the edge of our seats.
I also have to say it was a surreal moment for me. The PLL and the Waterdogs put out a, from my hometown Adele synced up video of Michael Sowers, and my voice is in it. I was like, hello? Like, that for me is, the coolest part about being a member of the media in the PLL and having connections to such a strong sports city, obviously. But to see and hear my voice in a hype video for Michael Sowers, Philly's king, in the PLL, and that, it gave me chills when I heard it because I was so shocked at first. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? So kudos to whoever ended up using my voice for that hype video. That was really cool, and hopefully, Michael balls out at home like he typically tends to do for the hometown crowd. But also, Deej, at 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus and ESPN2, The Dose, the Denver Outlaws, who have not played in more than a month, going up against the California Redwoods for the third time this season. A lot is going to be made about the Outlaws' time off, I think, because they have not played since their homecoming. So they were off Boston weekend, league-wide bye, quarterfinals, and now they're playing this week. So a long time off for the Denver Outlaws. Granted, you can look at that two ways. Hey, we got a whole month to get healthy. We got to rest up. We got to get as close to 100% as possible. On the other hand, we haven't been in a game speed in more than a month. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they, come out. I think even more so than New York, just because of their long layoff. These two teams have a lot in common. And that's not even denoting that they both have Kavanaughs that both scored 37 points this year. But, I think these two teams are growing into a very, very fun rivalry. And the fact that a ticket to the postseason finale with the championship game is on the line is going to really start to grow the seeds that have been planted of the Western Conference, and this matchup really become full-fledged must-see TV, not only this weekend, but moving forward, and just seeing the growth of a Denver-California rivalry. We see the Lakers and the Nuggets hate each other. We see a lot of that West Coast, rivalry across the board. I'm excited to see it come to fruition here in the playoffs with the Redwoods and the Outlaws.
This game kind of proves the West is open.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the breakdown of teams and how they're split, only two teams from the West have been to the championship game since 2019. neither one of those teams is going to be – well, there's the one, but they only made it that one time in 2019. Since then –
3.
Well, I'm saying that one team that made it has not made it again since 2019. It's only been Archers and Chaos.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
This year puts a new team from the West in for the first time since 2019. Maybe it's that team that went in 2019. Maybe it's the other team. Either way, it's someone that we're not used to seeing in the last couple of years from the West. Even though the West is 2 years new, you get the point I'm making.
And the Outlaws haven't played in a championship game since 2018 when they won the MLL title.
Exactly. So there's this season brought alive the West. It's not like this season proved the West isn't the Archers to lose. The West is for anybody to win. I think there's a big difference between, hey, anybody can win versus, hey, it's this team's to lose. The beginning of the season, everybody felt like the West was the Archers to lose.
I stand corrected. The Outlaws played in the 2019 MLL championship, but it's weird water of whether the PLL recognizes that as a championship because they were playing at the same time. But Chesapeake won that game. But the last time they played in a championship as an organization was 2019.
So either way, both of these teams are looking
have
to
not
get
been
into
to a championship since 2019.
That's huge. And I think just this season proves that moving forward, the West is a anybody can win conference versus it's the Archers to lose conference. To me, that is huge. That is what you're looking for. And this game shows it. First game of the year for these two teams, Outlaws versus Redwoods. Outlaws versus Redwoods. Redwoods come out on top. And what was a fantastic game.
I also stand double corrected because the bubble is a weird place. Denver played in that weird MLL bubble playoffs where two teams pulled out. Mm-hmm. They were the 1 seed in that, so Boston got in because both the other Hammerheads and Bayhawks that were the 2 and 3 seed pulled out because of positive tests. Denver lost in that one as well. So
we ain't going to count that.
Nonetheless.
We ain't going to count that.
It was also still during
for the first time
PLL season.
For the first time since 2019, these two teams are looking for their first play. We're not counting it. That doesn't exist. But yeah, I think
MLL bubble, baby.
I think moving forward, the West is open. Anybody can win it, and it's not anybody's to lose. That first game of the year was electric. When we saw those two teams play for the first time, we knew the Kavanaugh Bowl was going to be something everybody was looking forward to every time it happens. Now we get it 2 times a year, maybe 3. Yes, please. We are guaranteed the Cav Bowl 2 times a year and maybe a third in a situation like this where they meet in the playoffs. They split during the regular season. There's no telling what's going to happen in this game. The excitement of this game is going to be fun because the crowd kind of could care less, but won't at the same time. I think we'll find out exactly who Waterdogs win. Say Waterdogs win. We will find out exactly who they want to play in the championship game in 2 weeks during that next game.
Yep.
Because we'll find out, they're cheering for the Outlaws. They want to see them play the Outlaws. Either way, I think whatever team gets in from the West is going to be well-deserved. I think this is going to be an exciting game. I think we know all the storylines that exist in this game. The first-year coach storyline. Is he going to be able to get them back to the championship in his first year? The Cav Bowl, obviously, is a storyline. Chase Erlin and TD being on the same team and kind of being the driving force of the success of the Redwoods is a storyline. JB10 coming back is a storyline. Brennan O'Neill, in his own right, is a storyline all by himself.
And is a adjacent Philly guy.
Right?
We're going to have a lot of Philadelphia Wings fans at this game and sticking around to watch Brennan play.
And then you have...
as well as Dalton Young.
The Dylan Malloy comeback. Resurgence storyline. You have the where the hell has Ryder Garnsey been all year storyline. Like you can almost look at every player on both sides. Is JT going to get snubbed again storyline. are Mike Manley and Jesse Bernhardt done after this season storyline? Like, there isn't a player stepping on the field that there isn't a storyline behind them in this specific game. That is what's going to make this game exciting. Plus, knowing what happened already before, and then the other cool thing is, this game could turn out to be complete fun if the Atlas win, because then all those Philly fans that stay, they're just cheering for Brennan. They want to see Brennan win, or they just want to see an exciting game. There's an opportunity. They don't care who wins that game because Philly's not in anymore, and they just want to see an exciting game. This game being second, being on ESPN2 is great, because I think you're going to get all the fireworks you're looking for. Even if this game is a blowout, I think you get all the fireworks you're looking for. And then I think it just adds to the ambiance that the people there could give a fuck. Because of what happens before. This has potential to be the best game of the season because of everything that surrounds it.
And on top of that, like, you have Pennsylvania, like Terry's from PA. TD has made Philadelphia home in the last year or so. So there's going to be, some pop for a lot of these guys in this game. It's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to both of them. And then obviously afterwards we have the Stars and Stripes game for the second season in a row, the Green Beret Foundation, the Navy SEALs Foundation, and my goodness, do those jerseys look absolutely mint. I love both of them. They're fantastic. People, like, yes, is the Navy SEALs one a little bland because it's white? Sure. But the fossilized frog is genius, and they both look incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I said something to you yesterday when I finally got a glimpse of them. I'm like, you seen these yet? Like, gas. Last year's jerseys were great. This year didn't take a step down. Like I'm not going to say they're better. Not going to say they're worse. Not going to say they're just as good, but I'm happy with them just like I was last year. I think they find a way to embody what both of these groups find so
seen
important.
This?
No.
The Navy SEAL Foundation hat with the frog, the TNT cigar.
Listen.
Holy moly.
All I'm going to say is they found a way to take what is important to these two programs and these two entities and create an identity out of them every year. So I don't think there's a single player for Army or Navy that doesn't want one of these jerseys. I don't think there's many supporters of these two programs that doesn't want one of these jerseys or t-shirts or something. Everything used is so significant to the individuals that are involved. That is what makes them so great. Not just because they look cool, but the significance behind them. And we know what we're getting in this game. This game is going to be fun. I love the gold buckets that we got for this game as well. I think
Navy SEALs are wearing gold, and then Army's wearing matte black.
Yes. And the matte black's going to look great with the yellow or the gold, and the white. We're kind of used to this setup, but this is going to be fun.
God, the Green Beret Foundation hat is so sick, dude.
Yeah, that
holy moly.
I mean, I wonder if they're gonna have them in the shop because they be doing that.
They might.
They be doing that little deal, two for 45, I think it is, or something. No, that's way too cheap. I think it's like 2 for 60 or something like that. But yeah, the gear looks great. The guys are gonna look great. I know they're gonna be excited to just get back out in the field with each other.
And they're so appreciative of being there too, which is really cool. And all the proceeds from the merch sales and everything go towards both foundations, which is really sick. So very excited for that. But Deej, let's get to some other things. But before we do, I want to talk to you guys about our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, there's no better place to gear up with your favorite lacrosse players' favorite lacrosse podcast than with PHI Apparel Company. Shop official OTB shirts and hoodies at phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND at checkout when you get your cart filled up to the gills, and you'll get a generous 10% off your next merch order from our awesome merch partners. Again, that's phiapparel.co. Code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next merch order, and stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of OTB and Underground Sports Philadelphia. DJ, I think there's one last thing to do here. It's to make our semifinals picks here. So we will head over to the pick pond and feed some ducks for the PLL semifinals. Picks of the week brought to you by Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, Pittsburgh, and Maryland areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And as always, guys, please drink responsibly. We will start with the first game of these here semifinals, Deej. It is the Philadelphia Waterdogs, the New York Atlas, the 1 versus the 3, 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. How do you see it shaken down on Monday afternoon in the city of brotherly love?
What do I have to lose? Nothing. Nothing. I just want to see a good game, regardless of how this goes down. We talked about it time and time again. I've said it over and over. I think offense, defense, middle of the field, I think we know what we get from all of those places. We don't know what we get from either of these teams in the midfield offensively. Which one of these offensive midfields will show up? Y'all finna find this funny. I don't think either one of them show up. I don't think either one of them show up. I think that you get low outputs from both of them, but the difference maker is going to be the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I think Philadelphia will really be able to vibe from the crowd. They'll use that energy to play into the game and factor into how they feel about the game and the energy and the momentum that they ride through the game. And I don't mean that they won't show up at all. I don't think that they're both going to be completely non-existent. I think you're just going to get low outputs. We're going to see lots of midfielders with 1, 2 or less points.
It's that time of year where the unexpected player steps up.
Yes. Like, I could see everybody in the Waterdogs offensive midfield having a terrible game outside of Thomas McCoppy going for like 4 points.
And like T-Mac scores the game winner.
Yeah, and then on the other side, like, it could be Jake Stevens, like, finally truly popping off.
It could be Dylan Hess.
There's just so many options, but I don't think anybody midfield-wise for either of these teams is going to have more than 2 points. I think 2 points or less for everyone on the midfield, and it's going to be a tight, gritty game that Philadelphia wins by 2.
I did not see that coming from you. Going against your season-long prediction.
Yeah, I am. There's a little, what's that word? Reverse psychology going on right now. Like the way I see it is, if I pick the Waterdogs, I win both ways.
Yeah.
Either my prediction's right or I was right.
Yeah.
So which means
fair.
I'm right either way. I'm here for it.
I think a lot of this comes down to the transition game for the Waterdogs. If they're able to let Ben Weyer, Dylan Hess, Zach Courier move the ball down the field for them if they're winning faceoffs with Staff, that's going to be huge. Getting the ball into your playmaker sticks, Michael Sowers, Kieran, CJ, Jack Hanna has to step up in this one big time, I think, if the Waterdogs want to win. I also think a huge part of this is Kenny Brower. Kenny Brower has been a force on that defensive end for the Waterdogs this year. Let Kenny Brower do Kenny Brower things, because when he is on, this Waterdogs defense is so settled. Jimmy Freehill has been phenomenal for this team as well since swapping with Marcus Hudgens and going to close D. He's been a game changer. Ben Randall has been better when it's Kenny Brower and Jimmy Freehill next to him, and he kind of gets to be the quarterback of the defense and be the signal caller in front of Matt DeLuca. If this Waterdogs defense shows up, that's a huge game changer, because we've seen the Waterdogs offense crack the code of the Atlas defense and Liam Entenmann. It's going to be, can the Waterdogs defense rise to that occasion as well? I'm rolling with the Waterdogs home field advantage, I know it sounds crazy, will play a part in this. And I think them having that backing, that crowd noise is going to be a huge factor in this game. And I think the Waterdogs win. They punch their ticket to North Jersey and will play for another PLL championship on September 14th. We now have the Western Conference Showdown, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as well as ESPN Plus. The Denver Outlaws, the California Redwoods, round 3. It's going to be a fun matchup. I'm so torn on this game simply because there is a lot that is equal. There is the factor of the emotional high that the Redwoods are coming off of, winning their first playoff game with Anthony Kelly. The Denver Outlaws having more than a month off of actual game action. I think a lot of this is going to come down to goaltending. Will Logan McNaney be dialed in? Will he be, as crisp as he was when he first stepped into goal for this team? Will Chase Ireland carry the momentum that he has had the past couple of weeks into this game? And then I think a lot of it comes down to the face-off stripe. Luke Weirman versus TD. And for that reason, I got to roll with the team that has the surging momentum, and I'm going with the Redwoods.
For me, it's the time off is huge, right? Almost over a month. That's big. That's a lot of time off of not playing game speed lacrosse. You can simulate and practice as much as you want, but like scrimmaging against yourself is not the same pace, speed, aggression, all of those things that you do in a real game. You can try, but it just does not come close enough. Everybody knows that in every sport that you play. You can practice as hard as you want, but it does not equal game. It just can't, because you dislike the team across from you. You like the guy next to you. Even if he says something about your mom yesterday, you might be a little mad at him, but you still like him. You don't like the guy across from you when he's got on another jersey. Shit, we see it with Chris and Pat.
Mm-hmm.
This week comes around, they're cracking jokes at each other, doing pranks and skits and all this stuff, and they get on the field and they act like they don't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a competition. You could be my literal brother, but I hate you when we put on different colors.
Who is Matt rooting for?
That's a great question.
He played for both teams.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. But literally, these teams embody that idea of, when I step on the field, it does not matter who is across from me. I hate them until at least these 48 minutes are over.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I love them again. Maybe I don't. But for sure, during these 48s that we're in between these two lines, 4, I guess, I don't like you. And I never will. That is what this game is going to bring. Two teams that genuinely don't like each other, even though they love each other off the field. There's so many crosses between these teams of guys who have played together, grown up with each other, played travel ball, college ball, all these things. A lot of crossovers. A lot of guys that know each other personally, have hung out with each other, been roommates. None of that's going to matter when they step on the field.
Roommates.
None of that is going to matter when they step on the field. It's just all about those 48 minutes of them battling against each other on a lacrosse field to play in the PLL championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So that time off will matter, but it won't at the same time because this team is so young.
Yeah, minus their defense.
I say, and not their defense, 2 people. Jesse Bernhardt.
66.7% of their collective close defense.
Yes, it's just those 2. Those 2 are like, all right, y'all. Yeah, I'm feeling. Maybe Terry feels it a little bit because he plays lacrosse year round, so his body might start to feel.
He
it
was
now
probably in heaven.
This past month has been great for him, right?
I also have to point out, too, it got announced yesterday, Alex Smith was activated, and he'll be ready to go. So that's a huge get back on that short stick D-midi unit.
If they play him. We don't know what position he's really in to play and be effective. You can come back, but are you ready to jump game speed in the playoffs right away? There's tons of questions about that.
I'll let you know right now if he's active or not, because it'll show on the game preview.
But yeah, I think this game is going to be exciting. I think it's 2 teams where
nope, he's on the inactives.
Makes sense. It's just a matter of who's going to come out and be able to make plays when they really need to. And I think the difference will be, like you said, a team that's hot versus a team that's been resting. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I do still think this game's going to be close because at the end of the day, all of the major contributors for this team are under the age of like 26, 25. Like there isn't anybody on this team that like needs that rest like you would see with some of the other teams outside of Manly, maybe Terry, and Bernhardt. So this team's going to come out just fine, in my opinion. I think they're ready to go. The rest might have actually been good for some of them. They haven't gotten that kind of rest since in between seasons in college. But at the end of the day, the hotness, the vibe, the feeling around the California Redwoods locker room right now screams this team better be ready to go or we're going to run away with it.
They have like vibes team.
Yeah. I'm definitely taking the Redwoods, though.
Which I'm sure Hoots is taking Denver. We don't have Hoots' picks right now, but I'm intrigued to see who he picks in the Eastern Conference. This is essentially the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. That's what they should call them.
Yes.
It's no longer the semifinals. It's the East and West finals. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited to see like how it all shakes out. And like, this is the time of year where goaltending, face-offs, and the one random person on your roster come to play and step up. And I'm looking forward to it. So our PLL Semifinals picks of the week, Deej, you've got Philly and California. I've got Philly and California. We'll see what Hoots has. We can almost book it that he's got Denver. We'll see who he has in the East. But those are our PLL Semifinals picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer. That is all we've got for you guys on this one. We know the NLL opened up free agency without a CBA being signed. It's weird. I'd rather not talk about that until there's more concrete evidence of what's going to happen. That way we don't have to backtrack statements and dance in circles. I'll just say, if you're players, how are you letting the league do this? I'm just my brain is bamboozled.
Listen. They can do it. I bet you a lot of players are thinking they can do it, but I'm not signing shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would be. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, open it. But if you think I'm about to sign something, you're crazy.
There's an alleged rumor swirling around, too, that a big-name player is signing with the Buffalo Bandits, and everyone is thinking it's Joe Ristarits because he's from Buffalo, and he's towards the tail end of his career. That's fascinating. It's gonna suck if Joe is gone. I'm gonna miss Joe being in Philly, but if that is the case, it makes sense from a family standpoint. Like, I think he lives in Buffalo, like, so tail end kind of swan song for Joe Ristarits. It's the rich get richer. It sucks. And my thing to that is the Wings should then say, hey, we're gonna sign Chase Frazier then. Because guess where Chase Frazier went to college, everyone? Philadelphia. He went to Newman, okay? Bring the boy home. Do you know how fun Chase would be in a Philadelphia environment?
I mean, he's got to want to be here, too.
Of course.
Just throwing that out there. He may want to stay exactly where he is. But that would be great.
Do you know how fun Chase would be at the Xfinity Mobile Arena? No longer the Wells Fargo Center.
What are y'all going to call that?
Someone said we're going to call it XM Arena, which I don't hate.
I don't hate that either. I thought it was going to be X-Mobile.
The Zoom.
We at the Zoom.
Yo, we out to the Zoom. Because not only that happened, Xfinity Live is getting rebranded this fall to Stateside Live.
Oh, okay. For Stateside Vodka,
yeah.
Right?
So I think that was a move to be like, hey, let's not confuse the arena and the sports bar.
Yeah.
And also, hey, we just dumped our own money into our own entity. Let's pawn this off here.
Yeah.
And get out of that and put our resources there. But thinking about Chase Frazier, in a Wings uniform, he would look so cool. And his vibe and energy on a team with Blaze, potentially Mitch Jones if he doesn't walk in free agency, and then Brennan O'Neill. I mean, Brennan and Chase together is just, that's so fun to think about.
I'm excited for the NLL season. I think that would be fun to watch. I think even if Joe comes back, that's fine. There's going to be tons of questions surrounding free agency this year. I'm not excited about that, to be honest.
And kudos to Dane Dobie. One hell of a career.
Yeah. I mean, and he's still around. You know, he's going to be in the front office.
Just
and everything,
officially announced
so,
his retirement. So.
Yeah, I'm not hurt by that. That was coming.
Mm-hmm.
That was coming. I was surprised he played last year. If I'm being honest, like we've seen the end of his career coming for quite some time. But in my 2 years as a Roughnecks fan, every reason I've come to this team is bounced. Outside of like the atmosphere and the colors, and like every player that I've liked on this roster has gone.
Hey, at least you brought the red back.
And there's a chance that the others that are here are gonna leave. I know I got Tyler Pace for some time. That makes me pretty excited. I should have
Braden Maia, J.I.
Hayden Dixon for a while. Braden Maia should be around for a while. Maybe he might get up and walk.
I think he's still.
I know he's still signed, but
because I don't think
he's not over the. But I don't know
30.
that he's staying beyond his first contract. But
still have him for a while. I think he's only 20.
The big question this summer is what happens with Curtis Dixon and Jesse King. Any of those guys leave, I might just crumble. And then I guess if they do leave, who could we possibly get in return would be my next big question. I know there's a lot of guys up for free agency this year, but are they Jesse King or Curtis Dixon? No. Because nobody can be Jesse King or Curtis Dixon but them. But I am intrigued to see how free agency works out for everyone. But I would say players don't sign anything.
Yeah.
Unless you know, like we're seeing a lot of players like re-sign all those things, but they're under that 30 years old or whatever I think that's
I hate the way
threshold,
NLL
right?
contracts work. It's more confusing than hockey. And hockey's pretty fucking confusing.
Yes, hockey's very, very confusing. But yeah, I think the pieces that we have that are under 30 I can live with.
Yeah, you got Tanner Cook for like 3 more years.
Yeah, those pieces I can live with, and I'm excited. But it's the big question is what's going to happen with Curtis Dixon and Jesse King, and if they do leave, how can the team bounce back?
Yeah. So yeah, once we get a little more clear-cut stuff, and obviously we'll be covering the draft when that happens, we'll see how that all shakes out. This feels like the first time in a long time that like there's no real like true clear-cut answer for anything, simply because the Toronto Rock have a monopoly on the first 3 picks of the draft, which like to me should never happen in a league. Like, why are you trading picks to a team like that? Let's get our act together, gang. But I don't know a lot about the draft eligible players this year.
I haven't looked at the list, so I don't know if I know anybody. I'll have to take a peek.
Let's see if I can find it on Swarm It Up here.
I think Spallina's up, though.
Where is the draft here? 2020. This would be 2025, right? Yes. Lot of Canadians. Whoa, we got a Glassboro native. Yo, bring the fucking boy home. David Burr. That's cold.
I like the name. Burr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glassboro went to Robert Morris. I'd love to see that. Oh, this is a great name. From Knoxville, Tennessee, no less. Titus Chapman. Dog.
Brodus? Is that you? No.
Dog. Yeah, I haven't seen. Of course, Dowick's kid is in the draft.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's good.
I haven't seen.
Dowick's kid is good. Dowick.
Oh, this is a great name too. Defenseman Jackson Fridge, but it's spelled Jaxon.
Is he like 6'5", 215?
He's 5'10", 160.
Oh, he a fridge.
Burr.
He a fridge, all right, little mini.
What a fridge.
That's the one you put in your college dorm room.
That's mini fridge right there.
That's the one you put in your dorm room.
That's incredible. What a name.
Why you ain't got a mini fridge down here?
I've been looking. Don't you worry. I'm waiting for a sponsor to step up and be like, hey, here's one of our own. Oh, Owen Hiltz is in this draft.
Okay.
Chris Cav,
Mm.
Hugh Kelleher, Mick Kelly, CJ.
So a lot of last year's.
CJ Kirst.
A lot of PLL's rookies this year.
So yeah, I lied about not knowing a lot of the guys, but I just don't know how it'll play when the one team has the first 3 picks, and how they kind of approach that.
I feel like that's the one team I wouldn't want to go to.
Right.
Like how do you have 3 first-round picks,
Bro, we have
How do you have the first 3 picks?
They got the second overall pick from the Rob Hellier trade to Vegas. That was included in that. And then who was supposed to be third? I forget. There was another trade that happened that they got that as well. And then they stunk this year.
Was that on purpose? Just saying. I mean,
Jeremy Phoenix Lefebvre.
Excuse me, who?
This dude's name is Jeremy Phoenix Lefebvre. 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 Jeremy Phoenix.
That's a name, though.
That's a great name.
Phoenix is such a good last name.
Axel Sanderson. Now that's the defenseman you're looking at. RIT 6'2", 185. That's a name.
He's a beast. He's a beast.
That's a name. Tommy St. Louis. That's a goalie. 6'3", 170 from Long Sault, Ontario.
Salt? Sue. That is pronounced Sue.
That doesn't make sense. Hey, oh, dude.
I only know because
we need this guy to go to just a great team because of his name.
You said the Calgary Roughnecks?
Good one. He would look good in their jersey. He would also look great in a Wings jersey. He would look good in a lot of jerseys, but he can't go to a couple teams because we need to be able to root for this guy. Shaco Swamp.
Excuse me, what?
It's either Shaco or Shaco, but his last name is Swamp.
No, Swamp's a fire last name.
That's incredible.
I think it's Shaco.
Shaco Swamp.
That
is an elite name.
That's a name.
I'm not even going to try to attempt. Thistlethwaite?
Thistlethwaite. I think it's Thistlethwaite.
Owen Van Loon.
Loon.
Looney Tune over here. That's amazing.
Yeah, on his ass.
Who else? Is there anyone else we recognize? That's about it. So, yeah, the big names in the PLL, obviously Owen Hiltz, Kelleher, CJ Kirst.
Oh, Verge.
Levi. Levi is going to be very good. Ooh, he would be so good in a Wings uniform, I'll tell you that.
If he makes it there.
Grayson Tapping as a goalie, that's a great name. Fucking tapping on the fucking things like Blaze. Golly.
Blaze don't be tapping. He'd be beating them.
That's true.
There's a
He'd be
difference.
thwacking.
Man. Like, all right, get locked in then, dog. I ain't got nothing to say.
Oh, Phoenix Pullen. That's another great name. The fact that we have a guy with the first name Phoenix and last name Phoenix.
Why I thought that said Tommy Palaszczuk. And I said, excuse me?
The legend continues.
I said, how is he draft eligible?
The fact that we have two defensemen, one with the last name Phoenix and one with the first name Phoenix, has to be a first in the NLL. Has to be.
I mean, the name Phoenix, yes.
Yes.
But I'm sure somebody has the same first name as someone has the first name.
Keen Moon. Dog, if he gets drafted by the Desert Dogs and the last name Moon is on that jersey,
that'd be sick.
Whew. We got some
be here
names.
I'll have to actually look some of these guys up.
Next week we're gonna do our NLL Draft Prospect all name team because we have the bye.
Damn. All right. Well, looks like I'm getting to that work early. I'm getting to that work early.
Got to fill some time.
Yeah, we do.
That'll be fun. We'll try to get a guest
we
on
won't have,
too.
anything to talk about. We'll have the
Yeah.
recaps, but like that's it.
I'm
Unless
very
something
intrigued.
drastic happens over the week.
I'm very intrigued if Chris Cav plays.
Probably not.
There you
We
go.
barely saw Pat play.
Yeah, he did sign late though. I'll give him that.
But I mean, I think there was a reason he signed late. I don't think he really wanted to play.
This is also a great name, Clifford Gaston.
Oh, Gaston.
Fucking
Gaston.
be my guest.
Gaston Gastoff.
That's incredible. What a name. Ty Fisher. That's a defenseman. There's some great names in this draft.
Yeah, like DJ Hughes.
Are you
yeah, if y'all
are you
didn't know.
declaring?
I am declaring my NLL. I'm declaring for the NLL draft right now.
Official. Make the
Officially-
graphic.
Officially declaring for the NLL draft. Calgary. I make a great water boy.
They are not going to fly you out for...
I make a great bench manager. Just saying.
They're going to have you pay for your own plane.
Hey, but if they're gonna give me a job as their bench manager, they'll have to fly me out after that. So I'm okay with
that's
paying
incredible. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. We're gonna try to do some like post game reaction videos from the stadium. We got some new mics that we're gonna be able to try to use and do
Not
some
the
stuff
lemonade.
on the if they'd like to come through.
I mean, hey,
But we're going to try to do some post-game stuff on social, so definitely follow us there. Subscribe to the pod on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this has been episode number 390 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. Drop a comment in the comment section of who you want our guest to be for episode 400 in about 2.5 months, because we like to do the milestones pretty big. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. If you're going to be in Philly, come say what's up. We'll be there, and let's have ourselves a semifinals day, everybody. But until next week, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
peace.